Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Sandali Lng podcast. I'm your host, Jack Pifras. Joining me is my co-host, Jamie.
Hello!
Today, we are going to be talking about the basics of solar panels.
And joining us today to explain the basics of solar panels is a very special guest from Blueshift Energy Inc., Mr. Kristofer!
Sir, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Kristofer, the founder and owner of Blueshift. So we install solar panels for homes and businesses.
Hi. Alright, so once again po, hello po Mr. Kristofer. Let us start po with the first question po. So, tanong na po, how do solar panels work po? Or generate power in I guess you could say po parang in a general sense po?
Okay. So in a general sense, so the solar panel, they collect light from the sun. That's why you see them in roofs and stuff. And what we typically want to do is we want to avoid shade. So basically, what the panels do is they convert light into DC electricity. DC electricity is direct current, and however, we can't actually use this electricity for our house because most of our appliances, they're actually all AC power, so they're alternating current. And so what we have are the two components that's important to a solar system is basically the panels. It collects the DC power, and then the inverter, which converts the DC to AC so that we can use it for things such as a fan, your PC, the ref, everything is AC at the house.
Okay. So, how to say this po? We've heard that there are like different types of solar panels po. I believe it was called the monocrystalline and like the polycrystalline solar panels po. What are like the main difference between those two po?
Hold on one second. I believe the mono is the older version. Usually we use the polycrystalline now. Actually, and then the newer ones, it's actually the N-type panels. So usually you see, like mono used to be the older version, and then now it's not really used anymore. Or how?
Parang masasabi niyo po like, is it outdated po or is it like may bagong version lang po na naging parang mas better?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So mono is a older tech, and then the poly is a newer tech. Before you would reach like a lower efficiency with the mono crystalline panels. I'm not too familiar with the exact efficiency, but the poly ones are higher efficiency, and then now we're actually at the N-type panels, which is even higher efficiency and then longer warranties as well.
Sir, regarding there's panels, we've heard that there's like different types of grid systems. Like there's the on-grid, off-grid, hybrid, but what's the difference between those? Because from how we hear it, it kind of looks the same to us po.
Okay, I see.
Can you elaborate on that part po?
Yeah, so typically solar works as a real-time thing. The sun's out and you're generating power in the real time. However, the way we use our electricity is not really when the sun starts coming up, right? We use our electricity even at night and stuff like that. And usually solar power peaks during the noon, so like where it's very bright out. So you have these three systems that there's actually there's three systems that they offer basically. The first one is a grid tie system. So that basically whatever power you generate from your solar will be used right away. And if no one's at home using electricity during the day, it'd be kind of a waste, right? Since no one really needs electricity at that specific time. So they have other programs such as the net metering program and they have the net metering program, and then the other option would be to go the hybrid. The net metering program lets you basically sell your excess energy in the morning to the grid, and then you would get credited for that excess that you've generated because you can't store it, right? You can't store solar power. with the grid tie system. Now with the hybrid system, like you guys are talking about, that one you can start power. That one you have a battery system. So you have your solar and you have a battery and you have an inverter. The battery is what you would use for the nighttime use, basically, to store your power and then power your home at night.
Alright po. Okay po. So,
And then, and then the off-grid system. The off-grid system you can't really connect with Meralco, so it's basically like its own system. It's like its own off-grid system.
yeah, so parang like literally, like literal sense po, off-grid talaga.
Wala ka talaga ng connection. So, it's a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
Is it also considered hybrid po if like there's a mix of other clean energy in the system?
What do you mean by a mix of clean energy?
Like, for example, there's renewable energy for solar. If we add like wind renewable energy, is that considered hybrid system?
Not necessarily. No, a hybrid system is basically just a battery system. If you wanted to add wind, my expertise is usually just in residentials and small businesses, and even if large businesses, and within the city, wind doesn't really work if it's not those giant wind farms. So the main priority is just solar.
Just solar.
But it is possible.
It is possible. Alright. Sige po. Ano nangyayari sa that? What happens when solar panels po, like, let's say during the day po, sir, na biglang kumulimlim, like uulan or something. Gumagana pa ba yung mga solar panels kapag ganun? Or kailangan talagang clear direct sunlight para makakuha sila ng energy?
Yeah, so it's direct sunlight. If you get days that are cloudy, it won't produce as much power. So on average, you could say you get 3.3 sun hours on average. During the summer times, it might be 4 or 5 hours, right? But during the rainy season, it might just be at 2 sun hours. So it's a lot less. You get a lot less power for the day if it's raining. But it still does work. Like, it still works.
Okay. So as you've stated po, like, so talagang optimal time peak po earlier is like hapon, di ba po? Afternoon. Yun na po. Wala na pong like ano. So, in that case po, ano mangyayari pag nagkaroon po kayo ng excess energy, if that's a thing po?
Yeah. So, if may excess energy ka and hindi ka naka-net metered, what would happen is the inverter won't produce the power of the panels. It will limit the panels' capacity. Basically, what they usually do, the panels won't produce power unless you're consuming power. So you have to be using power for the panels to produce. If you're a grid tie system, but if you're a hybrid system, the excess power will go to the batteries.
The batteries. Okay.
So it's like the inverter is saying, you're consuming a lot of energy. The solar panels need to do that much energy, really.
Well, sort of. Like, it's more like how much can the solar panels provide, right? And then it will provide as much as it can until you reach an excess of more than you're producing. You can produce more than you use. So what will happen is it will cut the power and only power your home for whatever. Like, you might have extra capacity that you're not using.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Jam, the last question.
Okay. And then, for our last question, aside from like getting the panels and finding an installer, is there anything else to keep in mind before moving or using solar panels at home?
I would say, like, solar panels it's a very good it's a very good market in solar. Like, you don't really have to do any maintenance. There's no maintenance for the system, almost zero. As long as if you're looking to look for solar, if you're looking to buy solar and have solar for your house, I would say considering your installer, making sure the installer is reputable and they know how to design for your system. Those two things are kind of the most important things. Otherwise, it's kind of easy to have solar and maintain solar, and yeah, it's a pretty good thing. You get a very good ROI on it.
Yeah. So, you mentioned no need for maintenance. As in, like, no need talaga po siya for maintenance? Or meron, pero it's unlikely that we will need naman?
Yeah, so you have the systems that will break down eventually over time. So that one will have to be replaced, but that's like years.
Yes.
And then what you also have is the panels that you have to get clean. Actually, it's not a requirement to get clean. It will just boost your efficiency, but there's no requirement for you to actually clean your panels. And with our system, we also do lifetime monitoring. So if there's something wrong with the system, you'll know right away through online.
All right. Well then, that will conclude all of the questions po. Once again po, thank you, Sir Kristofer, for answering our questions po. And also finding and also thank you also for taking the time to consider interviewing us po.
Kaya alam niyo na kanina kayo magpapakabit if gusto niyo ng solar panel sa may residential area. Dito na kayo kay Blueshift Energy Inc.
Yes, we'll provide all the necessary links in the description box below, as well as the other necessities that you will need to install your solar panels with Blueshift Energy.
And they can also get a free quote online. There's a solar design studio that you guys can try, and it gives you the pricing and everything for your system.
There you go. With that being said, thank you so much for listening in and watching our podcast. We hope to see you in the next episode.
Kahit saan.
Dali Lang!
Bye-bye!